Yes, sir. Welcome to My Life Story 702. We got some scammers getting caught trying to steal over 100,000 in gold from this old lady. Man, it's all caught on body cam. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Yes, sir.
Yo, did you see the shit with the prison inmates? So like, there's a bunch of prisoners that escaped, and there's like two left. They arrested everybody, right? Like, let me show you the prison escape footage. They just ran out of that bitch. I don't even know how it happened. Supposedly somebody like, literally, I think didn't close the back door, and they just ran out of prison.
Of jail in New Orleans after escaping through a hole in a wall. Two of the prisoners can be seen breaking through a door into one of the prisoners' cells, where the hold of freedom had been made, after a guard had stepped away briefly for food. In the early hours of the morning, the men can be seen sprinting out of the jail after using blankets to jump over the barbed wire fences. They were last seen running across a motorway, narrowly missing passing cars. 3 of the men have been recaptured, while 7 others are still on the run.
Now, what happened is that a bunch of them has been recaptured, honestly. There was 3 that were walking, and by the way, one of the only 2 that's left is this guy, but they were just seen walking down the street, you know what I mean? They was walking down the street. One of them was caught on a bench somewhere. Like they were on a bench at a bus stop. Let's look. Prisoner, bus stop. I think it was on a bench. Prisoner, bench. He was just laying on the bench. Did y'all see? Look.
Nigga beat this man up. But you alright? Straight.
Yo, the nigga got free and couldn't find a good place to sleep, and basically just allowed himself to get locked back up to go back to jail, man.
Man, I just was by this man.
So yeah, he got locked back up. One of them, for Memorial Day, he was in the pool. They've been trolling the cops like, bruh, y'all not finna catch us. They having pool parties. Let me see. Prisoner. Oh, let me just put inmate pool. Where's the fucking video? No. Prisoner pool. Oh, no, I can't find it. Where is it? Let me just type escape. Because they made a video taunting the cops. I just can't find it now. Okay, whatever. Anyway, this guy is now making a plea, and he's still free. They've captured supposedly, like it was 12. They've captured everyone but 2 people. He's now making a plea with Trump and other people. Listen to this.
I'm one of the ones that was let out of GC. What I want to talk about today is for this why I was in Orleans Parish Jail. All type of stuff going on and they covering it up. They don't care about nothing in the state of Louisiana. This is something that need to go under a federal investigation. What's going on? How they handling cases? Why Antoine Massey was in jail if the woman, the victim, the wrong woman, not a child, the wrong woman stated that he never raped her. He never beat her. He was nowhere in her presence. This is the affidavits on the date right here. This is the drop form from the district attorney office. This woman when did this. I didn't do this. Look, it's legally dated. So I'm asking please for help. Young boy, Meek Mills, people, LBL, you know what I'm saying? People that been through the system that know it's corrupt. Lil Wayne, Donald Trump, please, I'm asking for help. You know what I'm saying? When I get back in custody, I'm asking y'all please to come and help. You feel what I'm saying? I'm asking the world. I'm letting y'all know I'm not a raper, man. I'm not none of that.
Wait, is he charged for rape? Or I guess convicted since he's in prison? Why this nigga not in Cuba yet, man? He said he ain't escaped. He was let out. Oh, y'all can't see what I mean? Oh, my bad. Did y'all not see the video? That nigga said he ain't escaped. He was let out. Let me see what his charges are. This is the video. I think it's taken down now. Oh my God. But apparently they're saying that they were made aware of the video. And they're saying, what is he charged for? There's a $50,000 reward for his capture. Wow. Let me play the original thing. Sorry, Chad.
News at 5 begins with breaking news.
Good evening. We begin with breaking news about Antoine Massey, one of the 2 Orleans Parish jail escaped inmates still on the run. Authorities are now reviewing an Instagram post in which a man who calls himself Antoine Massey speaks at length about the escape and some of the previous charges against him. Investigative reporter Mike Pearlstein joining us now in studio to talk about all these dramatic developments. Mike.
Well, that's right, Devin. We have confirmed that federal and state law enforcement authorities are reviewing this social media post, and they are taking it seriously. In the Instagram post, which appears to be recorded as it plays on a cell phone, a person with the same facial tattoos as Massey talks about being let out of the jail, names a female who is arrested for accessory to his escape, and claims his innocence on domestic violence charges he is facing in both.
Oh, so he's claiming he didn't escape. So he's snitching on the person who allowed them to escape, which, by the way, there was a woman that got arrested. There's a woman that actually got arrested. Let me see if I can find it. 2 accused of helping the escapees. I think this is this woman. And they gave her a $100K bond. Wow.
Orleans and St. Tammany parishes. He also shows court paperwork regarding his cases. Here's a portion of the video being scrutinized by law enforcement.
My name is Antoine Massey. I'm one of the ones that was let out of Orleans Parish Jail where they said I escaped, right? All right, what I want to talk about today is that I learned that they locked a woman up for saying that she was supposed to be helping me in any nature. Her name is right? Now is the victim to my case in St. Tammany. What they say, the kidnapping, the second-degree rape, the second-degree kidnapping.
Now, the video goes on for many more minutes and covers a wide range of topics, including requests for help by everyone from rappers to President Donald Trump. And as you saw,
the video got taken down.
This person, calling himself Antoine Massey, knows all about the specific charges being faced by the escapee, as well as the arrest of an alleged accomplice. Once again, Devin, we have confirmed that this video is in the hands of state and federal law enforcement, and they are taking it very seriously.
Yeah, and there's a lot for them to digest here. So what can law enforcement do with?
Yo, why don't them dudes just go to just go to Mexico? Pay one of them coyotes and get over to Mexico. Antoine Massey, pool. Nigga was at a pool party, bro. It's a hit right here.
I'm about to hit this. So you been gone? I've been gone for 14 summers, man. Yeah, but I ain't swum since 2006.
Nah, this is an old video because he got hair now. This nigga habitual jail attender, huh? Nah, that's not current because he got hair now. He got hair now. Let me see.
Spotted Antoine Massey. Now, Massey is one of 2 escapees still on the run after breaking out of a New Orleans jail almost 2 weeks ago. 8 others have been caught. He carries a rap sheet dating back almost 20 years that includes the domestic abuse and theft charges he was in custody for at the time of his escape. Massey has escaped 2 other jails in the past. His sighting has brought in multiple law enforcement agencies from Louisiana on top of local officers. The other escapee still on the run is Derek Groves, a convicted murderer, but there have been no reported sightings of Groves in Mississippi. Now, if you see either of the escapees, you're asked to call your local law enforcement immediately. I'm reporting live in Natchez. Crystal Tisme, 16 W.
Now, the other guy who is the other guy who's still on the loose is this guy.
Wednesday, Jamar Robinson's family celebrated his birthday. 2 days later, they were in hiding after finding out that the man convicted of his murder had escaped from prison.
Derek Groves' name echoed through New Orleans, whispered in fear and spoken with anger. He wasn't just another criminal. He was one of the city's most notorious figures. For years, his reputation had been carved into the streets: 4 men killed, multiple drug trafficking charges, and deep ties to violent crews. His story was tangled in a web of gang connections and deadly hits that left neighborhoods trembling. And now, after escaping from the Orleans Parish Jail, that fear had turned into panic. The city braced itself. Families of his victims, still grieving years later, faced the nightmare of him being free again. Prosecutors, exhausted by years of trials, feared what his freedom might bring: more violence and more pain. This was not just a jailbreak. It was a reopening of wounds that New Orleans hoped had finally begun to heal. And so, the manhunt for Derek Groves is more than a search for a fugitive. It is a desperate effort to restore some sense of safety to a city still haunted by his violent past.
I'm uneasy.
Look, these have not been the most relaxing days since I found out from the media.
This is the story of a man, a monster, and a city on edge. Welcome.
So the other guy who jumped in the pool, that was an old video, but like the guy with the dreads or the whatever, who was making the video appealing to Youngboy, Meek Mill, and everybody else, he's the one of the 2 that are free still out of the 12, and then this guy is the other of the 2 that are free out of the 12, and they're saying this guy is a demon.
To the hunt for Derek Woo Groves. But before we begin, if you find this video interesting, please give it a like. Groves grew up in the heart of New Orleans' lower 9th Ward, a place where survival wasn't guaranteed and danger lurked around every corner. The streets shaped him, toughened him. It was a neighborhood marked by struggle, where violence was part of daily life and loyalty often meant life or death. But Derek's story wasn't just about the streets. His family carried a heavy burden. So, in 1994, Kim Groves, his grandmother, was murdered outside her own home. However, the killing was no random act of violence. It was orchestrated by a corrupt New Orleans police officer, Len Davis, who had been terrorizing the neighborhood for years. Davis, nicknamed the Desire Terrorist, ran a drug ring and used his position to cover up violence and crime. When Kim filed a complaint against him for police brutality, alleging he had beaten a young boy in the neighborhood, and it sealed her fate. Davis ordered a hit on Kim Groves. A hitman named Paul Hardy was sent to silence her. Kim was gunned down in cold blood right in front of her family home. The murder shocked the community, but for Derek, who was born nearly 3 years later, the impact was personal and profound. Her death left his family shattered. Kim's children, Derek's mother Jasmine, and his uncles Corey and Stephanie fought tirelessly for justice. They filed a federal civil rights lawsuit exposing the corruption that led to Kim's death. 23 years later, the city finally settled with the family for $1.5 million. But no amount of money could replace the loss or undo the pain. Neighbors remembered Derek as a kid who seemed normal at first, just another boy in the neighborhood. One said, "He was just a kid trying to find his way, but the pain around him was heavy." Another family friend added, "That murder of his grandmother wasn't just a loss, it was a wound that never healed." The lower 9th Ward didn't just raise Derek, it shaped his choices, his survival instincts, and the dark road he would soon take. However, Derek Groves didn't become a killer overnight. His descent was slow, layered, and shaped by years of chaos around him. It started with small things: stolen bikes, street fights, and late-night runs with older boys who already had records. And by the time he was 17, the stakes were higher. In 2014, he was accused of shooting his own godfather, Christopher Bush. It happened in Holy Cross, and Bush was critically wounded. But before the case could go to trial, Bush was gunned down in a separate incident. He'd left behind a written statement absolving Derek, but prosecutors said he only wrote it out of fear. The jury didn't buy the state's case, and Derek was acquitted in a 10-2 vote. That was his first real brush with the system, and it didn't stop there. Then Groves became a name whispered around the 9th Ward. He was never the loudest, but people said he was smart and calculated. He kept his circle small and didn't talk unless he had to, and when he did speak, it was often in code. The streets taught him the rules: never show fear, never snitch, and never get caught slipping. He learned how to move like a ghost, quiet, fast, and always one step ahead. And by 2016, his name had started appearing in police reports tied to violent incidents, assaults, suspected drive-bys, and drug runs, but nothing stuck. He was slippery, and he knew it. Then came the alliances. One name kept showing up beside his: Kendall Barnes. Barnes had his own reputation, a known enforcer with ties to local crews. Together, they moved like shadows. There were whispers about paid hits, about Groves being the kind of man who handled problems permanently. His social media didn't help, and in several now-deleted posts, he rapped about doing hits, flashing signs, and dropping cryptic lines that sounded too real to be lyrics. One post went up just hours after a fatal shooting. People noticed, and the feds noticed. And from that moment, Groves wasn't just another street name. He was a target, but he already knew how to play the game, and he wasn't playing to lose. However, on the vibrant day of February 13th, 2018, Mardi Gras, the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans, was alive with celebration. Streets like St. Claude Avenue were packed with families and friends, and children played. Brass bands filled the air, and the community came together to mark a day of tradition and joy. Among those celebrating were two young men, Jamar Robinson and Byron Jackson. Jamar, 26, was known to many as a devoted father and a man who had worked hard to build a better life. After Hurricane Katrina, he returned home to New Orleans, balancing school and work as a patient transporter at a local health center. Despite the harsh realities of his environment, Jamar stayed clear of trouble and had no criminal record. His family described him as a baby, cherished and protected, the youngest of 3 siblings. Also, Byron Jackson, just 21, was affectionately known as Big Baby to his family because of his size and gentle spirit. A 2015 graduate of McDonald 35 High School, Byron had been accepted to Southern University at New Orleans to study business. His early life was marked by resilience. 2 years earlier, he had survived a shooting that left him wheelchair-bound for months. Yet Byron fought back, relearning to walk and pushing himself to reclaim normalcy. His family recalled him as full of life, deeply rooted in faith, baptized young and surrounded by love. That evening, Jamar and Byron were at a house party on St. Claude Avenue, surrounded by friends and neighbors. The mood was festive, the sounds of celebration all around. But at approximately 8:15 p.m., everything changed. Witnesses reported seeing 2 men armed with AK-47 assault rifles approach the crowd. Among them was Derek Woo Groves, alongside his known associate Kendall Barnes. The shooters weren't random. They had a target, a local heroin dealer named Richard Bam Green, accused of previous violence in the area, but Bam escaped unharmed that night. Instead, the bullets struck Jamar and Byron, 2 young men with no gang ties, caught in the crossfire of a war they had nothing to do with. Jamar was shot while sitting in a car with friends. Byron was also hit in the chaos that followed. 3 others were wounded and rushed to hospitals, but both Jamar and Byron succumbed to their injuries. Jamar at the scene, Byron after hours in intensive care. Also, Eric Robinson, Jamar's cousin and close friend to Byron, was also at the scene. He survived but was shot 5 times.
Wow.
In court, Eric testified about the surreal and violent moments, how he had noticed a suspicious car parked nearby and instinctively armed himself. When Groves and Barnes opened fire, Eric was hit but managed to fight back, firing his own weapon before falling. His courage was a stark contrast to the chaos around him. Other eyewitnesses recounted the panic, children and adults fleeing, the stunned silence after the gunfire, and the heartbreak as emergency services arrived too late for some. The community was rocked. A day meant for joy was forever marked by tragedy. After the shooting, Groves's social media activity raised serious alarm. Hours later, he posted a rap video lyrics boasting about doing hits and claiming responsibility for violence. Though the video was quickly deleted, investigators had already saved copies. Also, federal agents stepped in, coordinating with local law enforcement. They began a deep dive, tapping phones, tracking burner devices, tracing messages, and monitoring associates. Surveillance footage and GPS data placed Groves and Barnes at the scene. So, the prosecution built a meticulous case led by Assistant District Attorneys Forrest Ladd and Zachary Creel. They called on 3 brave eyewitnesses, including Eric Robinson, who identified Groves and Barnes as the shooters. Cell phone records dismantled Groves's alibi, and ballistics confirmed the use of the assault rifles recovered from the scene. However, the defense fought hard, challenging witness credibility and painting Groves and Barnes as elsewhere that night. They argued that key witnesses had incentives to lie, deals with prosecutors, criminal histories, and personal grudges. Multiple trials stretched over years. The first conviction in 2019 was overturned due to the new requirement for unanimous jury verdicts. So, a retrial in early 2023 ended in mistrial when a juror was found to have improperly consumed media coverage. Later that year, another trial deadlocked, prolonging the agony for the families. Through all the legal turmoil, the families of Jamar and Byron endured constant pain. Each delay, every courtroom drama, reopened wounds that never healed. But in October 2024, after 6 long years, the justice system finally delivered a unanimous verdict. Groves was found guilty on all counts and 2 counts of second-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted murder.
Groves was convicted last October of killing Byron Jackson and Jamar Robinson on Mardi Gras Day in 2018 in New Orleans' 9th Ward. He was given 2 mandatory minimum sentences of life in prison. Groves
came after a
Alright, okay. So that nigga's a murderer. Alright, bet. Hey, Bobby, for a homie who's been,
That's it, man. Got this thing spotless up in here. Got it looking nice and clean. Yes, sir. You know. So, yeah, I know. Let's see. Another day, man. This is my life story 702, man. I go about money, man. I want to say, man, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, man. We almost at this 2K subscribers, so we will be doing that giveaway soon. But like I say, once we get to the 2K, don't forget, man, my first 3 members, man. The first member, even if it's only 1 member, that's $100. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make it spicy. We're gonna give probably like a deadline on the giveaway. We're gonna give it a deadline once when we reach the 2K, and we're gonna give it like a deadline. I'll figure it out once when we get to the 2K. And once we get to the 2K subscribers, I'll figure out what are we gonna do with the giveaway. So what I'm gonna do is the deadline once when we get to 2K, and I'm gonna try to give it a little time first, and then I'm gonna put a deadline out for us to reach the 3 members. And if we don't reach the 3 members, my first member, whoever my first member, and if we reach the deadline, I'll just get that whole 300 to that one member. So, like I say, it's gonna be worth it at the end of the day. So, even if I don't get 3 members, even if I get 2 members, and we reach the deadline, I'll break the 300 down in between the two, within the 2 members. But if I get 3 members, like I said, y'all get $100 a piece. So let's get to it, man. Much love. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, go show love to the second channel as well, My Life Story 7022. Much love to everybody. I want to say, man, we growing slowly but surely, but I really do appreciate the love and the support. I really do. It mean a lot to me. So thank you. And also thank you for just taking this ride with me while I'm doing this job and I'm working and adding little different things to the channel. Like I say, man, I'm trying to get this card, man, pretty soon. Y'all gonna see. Watch. I told you I'm starting from nothing to something. Let's get it. My Life Story 702. We out. It's the dust collector right here. You know, it's like I think it's like 2 of these in the thing. It collect all the dust. And sometimes you gotta empty these out, and it, you know, it's a little dust collector. Yeah, this is me. Yes, sir. I cleaned this. Oh, it look a little dirty right there. I can't scrape that out, but yeah, I did that. That's love. That's the trash right there. It all leads outside to a dumpster. And right here, it's like trash and everything. It separates it, and then it blows air, like it'll blow it like an air thing that reads it. Feel like a mail or clothes. And it's like separates the white. There's shit like that as well. These like emergencies right here, like little emergency things, shut down, you know, this whole little area, go crazy. These as well right here. These emergency lights, turn off the lights and shit. If this the power emergency, if anything ever happened, I just hit that button and it'll. And then in the computer, it'll let them know. In the computer, it'll let them know what area was shut down, what's going on. So you see like a maze up in here, man. And this more trash too, where trash from. Like it separates it. The machine right here reads it. That's the office right there.
think we're just running cans right now. I mean plastic right now. I just got plastic right now. See all that plastic over there? We're running plastic right now. This is where our money at. You know, plastic, water bottles and shit. Like water bottles and shit like that. That's where our money at. Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, places like that, they invest. You know, and like